And just like that, it's Friday. What is the date? The 25th. Hello there. Welcome to the Midday Show. Um, I'm overwhelmed by all the amazing messages. I've had nearly 500 messages over the last few days since I was taken by ambulance off to hospital. I really appreciate it. I hope that I've replied to all of you. I hope I have. I hope I haven't missed anybody there. Thank you so much. I really appreciate every single one. I was overwhelmed. I know people will say, "Oh, I'm overwhelmed." No, I really was utterly overwhelmed by the outpouring. I can't even begin to say how much it means. It just means so much. I've been feeling not in a great place physically, and getting nearly 500 messages of support has been fantastic. Hi, Phil. How are you?
Hello. I'm sorry to add to those messages, but as I'm sure you can appreciate, there has been deep concern for your being, and we want to know that you are okay.
Thank you. Can I just dispel a couple of things? Because even my daughter was messaging me. She was on holiday, getting all sorts of worrying stuff. So here's the thing. And I just want to clear some stuff up, right? I didn't have a heart attack. It's nothing to do with my heart at all. I did not have a heart attack. Thank you. And it's not cancer. Thank God. It's nothing to do with cancer. I don't have cancer. I didn't have a heart attack. It's something quite different. And this morning, I'm pleased to say that the hospital phoned with a date for an operation, and I'll have the operation in a couple of weeks, and that'll be that. And hopefully after that, we can get back to what can only be described as rude health. Well, I'll certainly be rude. Whether I'll be healthy remains to be seen. But anyway, I've got a couple of weeks to go. Everyone's been so supportive. They've just had to cancel another funeral. And the funeral director said they were so sweet on the phone. They just felt they've been very, very nice. So thank you, everybody. I really appreciate it more than words can express. Anyway, there we are. How are you, Phil?
Yeah, I'm health-wise, thank God, not too bad. The reason why I was a little bit tardy with the timekeeping just then, I do want to explain, because at the very least you are owed an explanation as to why I know the show finishes it starts at midday and I wasn't here. The other day, I got a letter from the delightful people at Essex Police informing me that they had an intention to prosecute me for speeding, apparently, in the 30-mile-an-hour limit at 37 miles an hour. Now, having reviewed this particular road and where I was and what I was doing, it was a road that I'm not used to travelling down. I've never seen before. I was actually sort of on the way back from Clacton-on-Sea that day. And the road doesn't look much different. You know, when a road goes from 40 miles an hour to 30 miles an hour, there's a real distinct difference. It goes down to either one lane or there's residential buildings around. None of that. It just looked exactly the same. It just suddenly went from 40 to 30 out of nowhere. And miraculously, there was a speed camera right by where it suddenly changes to 30.
Of course.
And anyway, for whatever reason, I didn't see that the sign's changing to 30 miles an hour. And I was maintaining nearer 37 miles an hour. And subsequently, oh dear, got given a ticket. And I contacted Essex Police and said all of the above. And I also said that you need to provide me with photographic evidence, because at the moment you're just saying you're going to prosecute, you don't actually have any proof. And regrettably, with that, they sent me photos. So I knew I was down a bit of a rabbit hole with no chance of escape. So I have just booked a speed awareness course. Isn't that nice? So 3 hours of my life.
You get a choice. I had that once many years ago. And you had a choice of getting points or a speed awareness course. And I took the speed awareness course, which was actually pretty interesting. I didn't mind taking it. I'd rather take that than the
well, I'm going to level with you. The reason why I took the speed awareness course is because I decided that the best thing to do was to go down the cheapest route, frankly. Now, although speed awareness course, a lot of the speed awareness courses are £100 or £98, I think, is the maximum that they can charge. And a lot of them do charge the maximum. There are one or two county councils that offer speed awareness, and you can, by the way, people don't realise this, you can take speed awareness courses online from any council. It doesn't have to be the council that you were speeding in. But there are one or two councils that offer it slightly cheaper, and actually the cheapest one in the country is Hartlepool. So they charge £79. So I was just trying to sort over the phone the booking for that. But it's the difference between paying £100.
Where's Hartlepool? My geography is shocking. Where's Hartlepool?
Hartlepool is sort of around the Newcastle way, isn't it?
Yeah, but to get there is going to cost you a fortune.
No, it's online. It's virtual.
Oh.
So you can do virtual courses now.
Sorry, I didn't realise. I thought you had.
No, I know.
Since
COVID, no. Since COVID, you can do them virtually. So the Hartlepool.
How do they check that you're there and you haven't gone off to make a cup of tea?
You have to be on camera all the time.
Right.
So you have to be on camera.
When I did it, it was a full day.
It's a 3-hour course.
Right.
So, listen, I'm not going to pretend to be thrilled about this, but I have to tell myself that, look, the police have got me over a barrel, whether I like it or not, because unfortunately, legalized mugging is very much a thing in this country. And the awful truth is that I had the choice of either paying £80 for this speed awareness course, which, as you can tell, I'm very much looking forward to, or I could pay £100 and then get 3 points, and then just make the insurance companies more money.
Oh, the insurance would go, great, fantastic. Let's quadruple.
They just see it as a way to print money. So I've no intention of doing that.
You are, young, but I remember the days, and more mature listeners and viewers will understand what I'm saying, that you'd be with an insurance company and you'd say, well, I'm a loyal client, so I'm going to be, they're going to be loyal to me. There's no such thing as loyalty with these companies. And when you say, I'm going to leave, miraculously, they find a deal for you. So they say, Mr. Dave, we're putting your thing up. And you go, oh, well, that's okay, I'll leave. Oh, wait a minute. And it was the same with Sky. It was absolutely...
Sky are the worst for that, no doubt about it.
Sky, it was same with all sorts of people joining us now. Good afternoon to you both, Barry J. Allen. All the way from Sydney, Australia, Michelle Vaughan, hello from Oz. And Philip Harling, good afternoon, Russ and Phil. Yeah. We were going to have, I put an offer out, and I'm sorry about this. It's infuriating because, God, I've seen some driving.
Well, I think that's
on my various visits to the hospital and the doctors and everything else. I have seen some driving recently that is just incredible. I mean, are you rain? What's that? What was that? Was it raining on you? Just looked like it was raining.
Yeah, no, it's reflective of the mood.
Michelle Vaughan. Well, this is good. I'll be in hospital then, Michelle. But 11 days till I will be in the UK. Well, thank you.
Save yourself.
Yeah, I'm saving up. Michelle, if I'm out and about, it'd be lovely to meet you with Chantal. There is a lady called. How long are you in the UK for, Michelle? By the way. There is a lady called Rachel Krieger.
Oh, I know what you're going to say, but just before you get into that, you were going to say about the companies and charging and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. What I'm saying is that there used to be a great loyalty. And you'd say, yes, I've been with you for years and you're a trusted customer. They couldn't care less. They're not based in the UK. You're dealing with somebody out in Christ knows where. And there's no loyalty. So, we shop around, but it always sticks in my throat that they go, oh, we've suddenly got a deal for you. How do they suddenly get a deal? Why couldn't they offer you that deal beforehand, before you say, well, that's it, I'm off?
I was having a very similar thing recently with my electricity company. I've just changed electricity companies. And they actually started badgering me. The old ones started badgering me on the phone when they learned I was switching. Kept phoning and saying, can we just ask why you're leaving? Can you just find out so that what we can do? Oh, by the way, we'll give you £100 credit if you stay with us. Yeah. And I just said, this is why I'm off. I said, because at no stage when I was with you did you think of saving me money. My bill kept going up and you just didn't care about it then because I was with you. Oh, well, to be fair, we can't contact every customer. No, but you obviously have the means in place to make something a bit cheaper for someone, but you chose not to. And that is why I'm off.
I'd like
And
to
I'm
know
done.
why. We've got the most expensive utilities in Europe, and it's a disgusting disgrace. What the hell's going on with the water companies? They've turned everything into a shithole, quite literally, and then they reward themselves with the most enormous multi-million pound bonuses. It's disgusting. This was always the case. If you have national things that are owned by foreign countries, they don't care. They don't care about the UK. Of course not. We're not their friends. I'm just going to go and open a window. Will you hang on a second?
Yeah. No, it's honest to God. It's just so revolting the way that these rotten companies behave. And I'm going to level with you. I'm all for capitalism. Okay. I know people get very twitchy about the concept of capitalism. They say capitalist system is archaic and disgusting and it benefits people, only the rich, not the. Listen, capitalism, money makes the world go round. So people have just got to get over it. If you don't like it, it's too bad. That's just the world we live in. And you're never going to change that. However, it's not about that. It's about the fact that these companies are legally allowed to take whatever profit they see fit to the detriment of their customers because they're too big and too powerful and they have too much of a monopoly. And that's where the problem lies. Is if you don't get government to turn around, and I don't much really like government intervention with most things in life, but this, it's for the benefit of the masses, so it's very different. Yeah. If you get government to finally turn around and say, do you know what? If you don't provide a service that is above sort of X rated from your customers, you will not be allowed to take over a certain amount of money for your profits.
What I love is that ordinary people, you and I, can see the logic, of it. You know, it makes perfect sense. But the red tape, the bureaucracy, undoubtedly, backhanders here, backhanders there, God knows what else. It's this country is on the brink. I have said this for a long time. And everything that you and I have discussed over the years we've been together, like watching a train crash in slow motion, is happening. And it is both utterly depressing, terrifying, because I keep saying, you know, I'd be very careful because things are sub judice. The trial of those Manchester people who had the fracas with the police, right? I'm being very careful because it's still on trial. So I'm not saying anything prejudicial at all. I'm aware of that. When the judge starts saying they have, they've had no problems before and they're pretty good people, I'm paraphrasing, obviously, you think, wait a minute, what are we being buttered up for now? I have no idea what the outcome of the trial will be.
Well, I tell you what, should we look at a case where we can talk about it because it's been thrown out? Look at something like that revolting individual from Glastonbury, right? So
yeah, let's not say his name and give him.
I don't give a hoot about his name. Any more publicity. There's no point of promoting someone who is so unknown and so worthless. I don't care, but we know who we're talking about. And yet it was revealed a couple of weeks ago, police will take no further action. Caught on the national broadcaster calling for the death of a democratic states army. And there are people in this country who would have served in the IDF. Okay, I have friends who live here who serve for IDF. Okay, so he's basically calling for people to kill them. Police will take no further action. So you tell me how we're supposed to react and how people are supposed to feel, because I'm telling you for nothing. I'm starting to get so sick of this. I'm at the point of now almost not caring what I say to offend anyone anymore, because I don't see why I should bother. Why should I bother being a civilized human being when clearly, especially Jewish people at the moment, are just under attack and it's okay? It doesn't matter.
I'll tell you why. One name, Lucy Connolly. And the reason why they want you scared. Now, you're much ballsier than I am in these things. Um, but let's look at what's happened. You know, she did a tweet. She apologized for the tweet immediately, and she's been banged up for 31 months. It's her daughter's 13th birthday today, by the way. Happy birthday. So they've banged her up as a lesson to everybody else. Pour, as they used to say in World War One with the French, pour encourager les autres. In other words, we'll shoot you if you don't go over the top. So you might as well go over the top in the trenches. That's what that was about. And they'd come after you. We've seen that. We've seen that you can do the most heinous crimes and walk free. I mean, one thing's for sure, the judiciary in this country needs a root and branch shake-up, because I think the people have lost faith in it. Certainly lost faith in the police. Completely lost faith. Absolutely lost faith in the police whatsoever.
Honestly, when I got that letter about the speeding, it couldn't have been more obvious along that road. And I even sort of looked at it on Google Maps afterwards, because I was really on Street View, because I was just checking. I thought, no, this doesn't sound like me. I'm very, if I say so myself, very good at sticking to speed limits. I really absolutely don't do anything, because it's not worth it. It's always a battle being a driver in this day and age, because driving is designed to be as unpleasant as possible, so that they get less cars on the road. That's what the green agenda is all about. They're pushing fewer cars on the road, and this is how they're going to do it, is they just make it unbearable and very expensive. But I was looking and I thought, nah, this doesn't sound like me. And even looking back at that road, I can see very clearly it is so blindingly obvious that it is a speed trap. There's no doubt in my mind. It has to be, because there's no logic behind it. There's no residents there. There's nothing. It doesn't make sense.
Well, it's a cash cow. It's a cash cow. The other thing on motorways always gets me is they have a camera and you can see the 70 sign and you're in a 50 sign, and it's maybe 200 yards apart, 300 yards apart. Mm-hmm. You think that is just taking the mick. Yes. Explain something to me. You got your finger on the pulse. The Epping Hotel situation.
How long have you got? Okay, yeah.
Well, no. My question. I'm so sorry. I'm just, as you can see, I'm really not quite myself. I'm doing my best. The Epping situation is this: that the police. There's a peaceful process, a peaceful protest of mums, dads, grandmas, grandpas, children, not right-wing thugs, ordinary UK citizens.
No, they're far right, don't you know?
I understand, yeah. For which we now have to call them far right. So your granddaughter, your grandmother, everybody, they're all far right? Still madness, of course. And suddenly, these thugs turn up to start protesting against them. So put aside the logistics just for a sec. Let me just get through this. If you think about it logically, the people are there, they want protection for their children, for the women and little girls. So people are coming up saying, no, why should you have protection for your little girls and your wives? Why should you? So that's number one, which I don't understand. The police denied bussing these thugs in, all of whom were masked. Now, I thought, and somebody very interestingly went into it, I didn't think you could wear masks anymore, but apparently you can wear masks if it suits. I don't know. The law seems to be like jelly on that particular on that particular point. So the police said, no, nobody was bussed in. And then they showed the videos, and you can see these people being brought in with the ready-made sign. So where were they coming from? How were they organized? Who is printing all these signs? Where is it coming from? It's coming from a central source. The mums and dads, grandmas and grandpas and little children have got cardboard boxes with like crayon signs, right? That's a proper protest. They don't come with everything neatly printed, as they always do, as they have for 2+ years in London. But no effort at all has been made. Who prints this stuff? Who's paying for it all? Who's been
So
paying for this for
this
year
is
after year
precisely
after
my
year?
argument when it comes to the pro-Hamas marches. And everyone, any time I say that that people will start digging at me for saying, no, they're not pro-Hamas. They're just anti what Israel is doing. I was like, oh, well, okay. And so who do you think organizes these protests? Well, no, they're just people who are upset. No. They're not. They're not. There may well be some people on those protests who are upset by the images that they're constantly being fed by our propaganda state service. But unfortunately, what you're doing is you are backing a march that is very much funded by Iranian terrorist money. And that's the reason why they have all of these signs printed in their thousands. They have these signs just printed, ready, willing, and able to hand out to protesters. They have the badges, the stickers. If you go into central London, you see these stickers all over the place: boycott Israeli apartheid, and also sort of freedom for Palestine and all of that. All of these stickers, they fund all of that, and they give them out in their droves to all of their protests. They get them to vandalize London all over the place, putting these stickers up. And it's funded by Iranian terrorists. There's no two ways about it. If you actually go to and it's publicly available information, you go to the police websites or whatever it is to actually find out who's registering for these protests, and it very clearly says who these organizations are. That is why the Palestine Action Movement has been classed as terrorist now, is because they realize the links that they have. They're not making a big thing of it because they don't want to soil the word Palestine, but it is very clear that Palestine Action is funded by terrorists. And as a result of it, unfortunately, we have a situation where terrorism has been allowed to rule the streets of the capital for the last 2 years because people are far too afraid to put their foot down and say, do you know what? Enough. This is England. If you don't like it, go and live in Gaza.
I think we saw a hint of what's to come the other day. Again, I'm going to be very, very careful because the man has been charged with murder, whereby young people who had it would appear, were known in the area, were stealing e-bikes and doing all sorts of pretty bad stuff. And the father had had enough, and he jumped in his car or van, whatever it was. And beg your pardon. And he ran over this young guy, killed him. And he's been charged with murder. I'm not going to say anything more because that's a police matter and it's a court matter, etc. Now, not long ago, you would have said, without a doubt, that is despicable behavior. You cannot go full Charles Bronson, jump in your car and run people over because you're furious. You can't. But it is indicative of the mood of many, many people, not everybody. Am I advocating that? Of course, I'm not advocating that at all. But I suppose they were thinking, and I'm making a supposition here, that this person was known to the area, had been causing God knows how much trouble for how long, and maybe the police hadn't, I don't know. And they thought enough's enough. Now, that's not the way to do it. It's a shocking thing to do. It's a shocking thing to do. But I fear that direct action will be the future. It's not what I want. I've never wanted that. I've said that for years. You and I have discussed this for years of how this is going. If you lose faith in the police, if you genuinely believe there's a two-tier justice system, if you lose faith in the judiciary system, we're screwed, because that leads to anarchy. That leads to anarchy.
Well, I'd say I think we've already got it, really.
You feel we've got anarchy?
Yeah, totally and utterly. Seriously, I mean, this is just the brink of it. This is the start of it. Because
how do you see this going? This is very depressing. I mean,
we're being
grown up about it. We're being very careful with our language.
But it's really funny you call it depressing. I actually think it's reassuring. As much as I would never condone violence, ever. I hate violence. But I look at it as that there are still people in this country who believe in the country and who think it's worth fighting for. And as much as I, make no mistake, don't ever want to see anyone pushed to the brink of violence, I would like to think that it goes to show there are still people who live in this country who are very upset by what's happening to it and the direction of travel, and say, no, we're not going to let it go that easily. Don't want to let it go. We want our country back.
There are millions of people who feel like that. But of course, Starmer just doubles down. I don't know if he's an idiot.
I think there are many words to describe him. He's not an idiot. There are many words.
What is he? No, I suppose he can't be. He's a KC, but he's obviously a highly intelligent man. Is he utterly tone deaf? Is he fanatical? What's going on?
Well, I don't know.
How do you keep doubling down on something which is clearly not working? How do you keep?
Well, and I'd argue that the most politicians in this day and age, all they're interested in is staying in power, right? Yeah. They don't necessarily care what's in the best interest for their citizens or for their country. They just want to stay in power. I think what's happened is that Starmer believes that there are swathes of the population who are quite liberal. I mean, he's been given this false sense of power by the overwhelming majority that his government were elected on. But it was only overwhelming because of the voting system. It wasn't overwhelming in terms of the numbers of people who actually went out in their droves to vote for him. They've got in with this number of politicians or MPs on the basis of something like 36% of the vote. Well, that, by my dreadful maths, means that about 64% of the population don't want him. So that's still quite a chunk of the UK that doesn't want him in power. And unfortunately, he's sort of gone based on the idea that he's suddenly got the mandate to do whatever the hell he wants. And he's trying to appease the minority of people that he has who would vote for him and who would think like that. But I think it's worse than that. I think he's doing it because he's under pressure from his own MPs, which he knows he's not cleared out the Corbyn mob yet. There are still plenty of people who believe what Jeremy Corbyn thinks, says, and does. Labour is polluted big time. This is not like the Labour when Tony Blair was in power. This is very much sort of like
which is when the rot started. The rot started with Blair.
Yeah, but this is very much. I think this is very much a case of Labour 3.0, as if Michael Foot's vision of it. And I would suggest that what he's trying to do is strike this balance, which, let's be honest, never worked for Theresa May. Trying to strike this balance of keeping some people in his party happy, whilst trying to carry out what he sees as being necessary to stay in power, whilst trying to appease some of the population, or a vast majority of the population, that's really angry about what's going on. But he knows if he falls into the category of trying to appease the masses, he'll be kicked out of power.
Yeah, well, and then you're going to get Angela Rayner, who I wouldn't let go into Waitrose. I wouldn't let her go into Lidl and buy me a loaf of bread, thick as you like. Here's the thing.
Even the unions
here's the thing. You can't secure borders. Oh, shove a load of people into the Britannia Hotel, Canary Wharf, an area I know like the back of my hand. Practically there all the time, right? Do that and put a ring of steel around it. Like that, instantly. Can't secure the borders. You can secure the Britannia Hotel in 30 seconds. It's incredible, isn't it?
I have to say,
put up the barriers, and put up the steel mesh, and put up a ring of policemen.
Do you know where not enough blame goes with all of this? Is I actually blame hotels. A lot of the hotels. Now, I have to be honest with you. If someone came to me and offered me about £1 million, blooming right, I'd probably want to take it. But if it was £1 million and it meant that I was going to house people that were going to destroy the property that I own, and furthermore would actually destroy the country I love, I'm not 100% convinced I'd take it. I don't know if I'm that greedy. I hope I'm not. But these hotels,
these hotels will get a backlash. These hotels will get a backlash because most people are saying, right, you took everybody in, you screwed us over, and now you want us back. You can change the name, you can change your paint scheme, you can go to hell. We're not going to go and we're not going to go to
every single hotel in this country turned around and said, nope, no thanks, not in our property.
You may not
This
know.
would stop.
Watching around the world, you won't know with the Britannia Hotel. I know the Britannia Hotel very well. I know Canary Wharf, as I said, like the back of my hand. Right? It's incredible. It's
Well, it was.
incredible. Well, now, and how can you do that? And when people arrive and they've travelled from all over the world and said, "No, sorry, your reservation's gone, can't come in." This is insanity. This is the absolute insanity. We need an election now. We won't have it. They should resign in shame. Let me ask you this. I know Chantal's chomping at the bit, but this is important stuff. Let me ask you this, Phil. Corbyn and that other yuck form their own party called Your Party. It must have taken a long time.
Or as someone, as Ash Gould on Talk called it last night, which I thought was absolutely brilliant. You got Zara Sultana and Jeremy Corbyn, and he calls it the Fruit and Nut Party.
Well, it is the Fruit and Nut Party. It is the fruit. It's a vile, virulently disgusting bunch of bastards. They're just appalling, horrible people. Horrible people. A lot of people are going to defect to that party from Labour.
Good.
Because they think they're going to get in. Because they think they're going to get in.
Perfect. Get rid.
Do you think they've got a chance of being voted in? There's enough lunatics in the country.
No, never. There aren't anywhere near enough lunatics to get them in. Nowhere near. We saw that with Jeremy Corbyn when he was the leader of Labour. I'm not being funny. If the leader of the opposition, when people were desperate to get rid of the likes of Theresa May and Boris Johnson, and if Jeremy Corbyn in those days, under Labour, which is obviously an established brand that people have seen in power and respect, some people for some stupid reason respect in power, then I would say that is enough proof that there's no way.
They are quite I mean, look, they're delusional. I think they're quite mad in every single way. Let's try and lighten the mood before I keel over.
Someone we would vote for.
I would vote for her. See, the thing is, how long before everyone just says enough's enough? We're going to.
I think we're getting there. I really do.
People are just going to say, "Do you know what? We're taking this into our own hands."
Jeez. No, I think we're already seeing that. I really believe it. And to be honest with you, I don't blame them. I will never condone violence, but I understand why people are feeling like that. You know, if you think of it like that, and now think of also very quickly, sorry, Chantal, but if you think as well as sort of the added Jewish elements of it because of what's going on in the Middle East at the moment. I put this graphic out on Facebook the other day, which I have to say I borrowed from somebody else. I saw someone else post it, and I thought it was absolutely unbelievable. And not, again, to depress anyone, but this week in Europe alone, okay, you ready for this? In Spain, Jews kicked off a Vueling flight in Valencia.
Oh, the Vueling flight. That was, if you haven't seen that footage, it's absolutely disgusting. Vueling should be boycotted. Boycott Vueling.
They will. Greece, Jews prevented from disembarking a ship.
Yeah, they're on a cruise. It was a cruise ship.
In London, Jews slandered by a certain radio presenter who I'm not even going to give
who should be fired.
In Ireland,
absolutely, that radio station should be held to account.
Yeah, well, it's slightly disconcerting when you know that the big boss of that radio station.
I know who the bosses are. I've worked with him.
But he's Jewish.
I know, it's disgraceful. People have written to him saying, do you think you should put, humanity in front of your bottom line profit?
In Ireland, Jews assaulted by thug on a bus in Dublin. In Belgium, Jews detained at festival for being Jews. In France, Jews harassed at French airport by a staff member. In Greece, Jews physically attacked by anti-Israelis on roads, or in roads, I should say. And in Germany, Jewish restaurant vandalized in Freiburg. That's just the last week. Welcome to 1930s, everyone.
We've been saying this for years. You and I have been saying this loudly for years, that we're back in Berlin and Poland in the 1930s.
Well, I tell you for nothing, they can try it, but anyone who tries to sort of assault me will get it right back in the nuts. Anyway.
That's the difference. And the police will be on their side, not yours. Ladies and gentlemen, you know how
but I'm not going to die because the police aren't on my side.
Oh, well, precisely. Neither will I. Neither will I. Chantal Rickards OBE.
Hi, Chantal.
Hello. I feel as though I haven't quite got the mood of the day right yet.
The mood of the day, Chantal, is that just before the show, I've had a wonderful call from the hospital, and I've got the date for my operation. So that's great. So that's going to
Marvelous.
help out. I thanked over 500 people who've sent messages on social media.
Oh,
I'm
that is
stunned. I hope, as I said, I hope I answered everybody. And I just want to say something else again, Chantal, now that the numbers are up and everyone's watching all over the world, is that thank you. But two things I do want to stress, because my daughter's getting all sorts of calls and everything. Right, I did not have a heart attack. It's nothing to do with my heart. My heart is absolutely fine, and I don't have cancer. Thank God. So I haven't. It's nothing to do with cancer. I don't have cancer. I didn't have a heart attack. It's something quite different. It's a medical thing. It will be resolved. That's all I'm going to say. But thank you very. And straight away, all the way from Sydney, in Australia. Hello, Chantal. There we go.
Wonderful. Good. Well, I am pleased that your news is better and that you are
just got to get there. Anyway, there we are.
And I was also very pleased to see your wonderful note on Facebook about how kindly and caringly you had been looked after by the staff in the hospital that you visited.
They were amazing. And I want to reiterate that. I went public with it, and it wasn't a thing about me. It was a thing. All I was trying to say was thank you to the NHS, thank you to Barnet General Hospital, to the ambulance service, to everybody who every single person at Barnet General was amazing, as they have been at Watford General as well. They've been absolutely charming, and couldn't have been more supportive.
You mean you're at Watford General? You didn't pop in for a cuppa?
I always wave. But believe me, by the time I'm leaving there, Phil, I'm in no state to wander up for a cup of tea. Right. Okay. Chantal, what have you seen over the last few weeks?
Well, I was just going to sort of update you on where we left each other, because we left each other in a rather dramatic moment about 2 or 3 weeks ago, because you weren't well on air, if you remember.
Yeah, I had to go.
And so apologies for that moment where
No, I apologize. I'm sorry. I couldn't. I just had to go. I wasn't well.
Not at all.
Sorry.
But no. And so I've got a couple of programs that had come out before that time that I'm going to talk about today, but with some other stuff that's come out in the last week or 10 days. And then I went off on a cruise ship. I heard you just talking about cruise ships for the wrong reason, but I just had a wonderful week as a guest of P&O on a ship called the Aurora, where my Tales of Hollywood went down less well. Dramatically less well than a lady speaker, a British woman called Linda, whose surname I've temporarily forgotten.
Linda somebody or other?
Don't tell me it was Dave, please.
Linda Dave.
Was
it a lecture she gave about her son who's in broadcasting? There's a woman called Linda Dave going on.
No, it wasn't Linda Dave. I would have been very happy to see your mum on board. It was anyway. This lady called Linda literally packed twice a 600-seater theatre on board with tales of serial killers, which sort of amazed me that in my rather sort of arrogant way, in my little showbiz bubble, I think that people are fascinated by stories of Hollywood and television, and maybe they're not, because they're clearly a lot more interested in tales of serial killers, so I think I'm now going to offer myself up as a speaker on cruises who's going to talk about crime on television, because I think that'll probably get better attended.
Very, very good idea.
Than my silly tales of red carpet.
That's a really good idea. You know, no. But isn't it interesting that there is a fascination?
Complete fascination. So
tell us what happened with the boat and joining the boat Chanters.
Are you shaming me? You're not allowed to.
I'm just a general question.
Don't tell me that you were blocked by a load of Greek protesters.
It's not a general question. It is a very pointed question.
Well, it made me even though I was in pain, it made me laugh.
Well, let's say the gangplank and I did not find each other on the day in question, and I watched the ship.
Did you fall in the water?
No, I did not fall in the water.
Good, phew.
I was not in danger at any stage other than from heat exhaustion, because it was one of those sort of 30
Where did you flew to some? How does this work?
No. I got the train, which was delayed, to Southampton, arrived in Southampton an hour and a half before the ship was due to sail, which I thought, was sort of
plenty of time. Yeah.
I thought it was okay, but I didn't quite realize that it wasn't okay. And they had actually pulled the departure time forward by about 15 minutes. And had they not pulled the departure time forward, I might have just got in under the wire. But as it was, they had literally pulled up the gangplank as I was arriving at the dockside.
Ah.
And I was pleading with them. And I said, look, put me on the pilot boat. Just, presumably the pilot's on board and there's going to be a boat going out to pick him up, which will bring him back to Southampton. I said, ditch the luggage. Just put me on the pilot boat. This is very embarrassing.
Ugh.
And they said, no. They said, no. How could you say no to me? So I watched the ship sail away without me.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, my goodness me.
Fucking hell. So what did you do then? It's my nightmare.
I flew the following morning to a place called Stavanger, which is...
Was this at your own expense then?
Well, I have offered, quite rightly, to pay for the flight. Because, it wasn't their fault that I was delayed by British Rail and various other things.
Oh, I see.
So I have offered to pay.
It sounds a little bit, Chantal. Did you ever watch that episode, that Christmas special of Keeping Up Appearances, where Hyacinth Bouquet sails on the QE2?
Oh, yeah.
And the first half of the programme, which was the only episode of Keeping Up Appearances, which was an hour long. The first half is about her chasing after the QE2 because she keeps missing it. Gets stuck in a field. The engine gets flooded as they're driving to Southampton or whatever it is. And basically they miss the boat. Then she phones up the captain. I don't know how the hell she does it. She phones up the captain of the ship, demands that they bring the ship back, crying over the phone saying, how could you go without me? Don't you know who I am? Blah, blah, blah. And eventually they decide that what she could do is could meet them in Copenhagen. So she has to fly to Copenhagen with a load of luggage, gets there, jumps on ship. Anyway, so it just sounds very reminiscent of that.
Did your
riveting
speech,
stuff, I'm sure, but it just reminded me, sorry.
When you finally managed to do your... Did you do one or two talks?
I did a sort of 45-minute, thing. And then I did a Q&A a couple of days later.
But did it go down? I'm just curious because you're such a charismatic person. Your stories always fascinate me whenever you and I just chat.
Well, I think to be honest,
did they not get the deal, or?
Well, I don't know. I think that possibly it's all in the billing. If you get the billing wrong, then people are not going to be attracted to it. And I think if I'd said, come and listen to lots of funny stories about working on Countdown and Through the Keyhole and MasterChef and The Parkinson Show, and I probably, this morning, I probably would have had more engagement from people than the rather sort of lofty paragraph I put forward about Hollywood has had to, look itself in the face and decide who it is and what it stands for.
Oh, Chantal, you should.
I know.
I would have. I wish you'd. I hate to say this because I look up to you, and I'm not playing smack up your posterior, but I wish you'd have run that by me because I would have told you go for the most obvious thing. They are punters. They are punters. They just want to be entertained. They don't want to be lectured. They want to be just bloody entertained.
Yeah, so I think if there is a next time, I shall pitch it at a completely different place because there were other people on board. There was a very nice chap I met who used to work at the BBC who just talked about the Antiques Roadshow. And actually,
people would love that.
Loads of people went along to that.
Yeah,
and I think I was just trying to be too clever and overcomplicate it and be a little bit too erudite. And but actually what was completely lovely is it was like being back in showbiz. The entertainment team on board were fantastic.
They're huge, yes. They're absolutely massive.
Performers. They had a band of 7 people. They had a dance troupe of 14 or 15. It was absolutely fab, and it really was like being back in showbiz. It was lovely.
Yes. These are huge. There's a lot of people who spend all their time on cruises as entertainers.
Oh, absolutely.
There's many of my friends. That's all they do. They are never in the UK. They're out of the UK 250 days a year, maybe. It's a lifestyle. They do very.
Absolutely adore it. And there were people there that I met who'd done 40 cruises. And I was the average age of everybody on board. And actually, in many ways, it was rather nice to be
35.
if only. Surrounded by people my own age, because the points of reference were the same pretty much for everybody. So I could talk about the Parkinson show, and I could talk about, whatever it was, Countdown. And they all had their own, perspective on all of those things.
Did the Q&A go
They had
well?
great appreciation for Listen with Mother.
Ragtag and Bobtail. Did your Q&A go down well, though?
It was fine, because I'm, if you ask me a question, I can...
Yeah, I know, but I wonder if they felt more engaged. I'm just curious. I shouldn't be discussing it publicly. I just wonder if they felt more at home, being able to ask the questions at the level that they wanted to ask the questions.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, I was interviewed by the entertainment manager, who's a lovely bloke called Mike. And, we'd had a chat beforehand, and it was, that bit was pretty easy, to be honest, because I've got an anecdote for everything, really.
Everything. Yeah.
Point in the right direction.
The neatest thing I ever saw was at the CAA, which is the Concert Artists Association, little club. Little club, which is so adorable in Covent Garden. And there's a wonderful man called Keith Simmons. Keith Simmons is the king of panto. He's just part of the Simmons brothers. Now he works with his son. The nicest man you can imagine, Keith Simmons. And he did an evening there, excuse me, some months ago. And he just calls it My Pack of Cards.
Yeah.
And it was the cleverest thing. And he walks around the audience, pick a card, and you pick a card at random, and it will say something, like, I don't know, Phil Dave. And so he'd go up and tell anecdotes about. It was such a neat way of doing it, because he didn't have to remember a script.
Yep.
You felt involved. It was so neat.
Very clever. I think
it was so neat, and it was a lovely, lovely Keith Simmons, the most charming man who proposed.
The way to do it, Chantal, for the next one: don a top hat, get some white gloves, maybe a wand up your sleeve, and then just pull out some cards. What have you seen on the box?
Right, I'll tell you briefly what I've seen on the box before we completely run out of time. I want to take you to a happy place, mainly because my teenage years were my happy place. And there's a very good drama on the BBC. It's 6 1-hours, came out last week, and it's called Mix Tape, which I always thought a mixtape was a mixed tape. But
so did I.
Yes, well, it's a mixed tape. Okay. And you and I, Russ, will remember the days of cassettes with tape,
of course,
where we would record things off the radio, or from the radio, I should say.
You do know I do remember that.
You do.
I'm flattered you think I'm young enough not to, but I do absolutely remember having the hi-fi with 2 cassette decks and pressing record and then flipping it over and stuff. Happy days. And then the machine chewing it up and having to get a pencil out. And
get your pencil. Oh my gosh.
Well, basically, that is the sort of the spine of the story, if you like, is the two stories of a couple who meet at school, late 1980s. They are teenagers. They fall in love. They have a beautiful romance, and then you knock on to current times. They have married other people. They are living in different countries, and something draws them together. And at that moment, instead of sending out a mixtape, they start sending each other Spotify links saying, do you remember this one? Do you remember that one? Do you remember this one? Do you remember that one? And so that brings them closer back together through music, which I always thought was a brilliant idea, that somebody should do a dating app so that you could actually try and find your Tinder person by choosing somebody who got the same musical choices as you, because I think musical choices are so important. Anyway, it's a very beautiful love story played out over 6 episodes. I am not going to spoil it. I wasn't a teenager in the 1980s, but it just took me straight back to my teenage years and to that big love of your life that is so formative, that somehow stays with you for a very long time.
Do you ever get over that first big love of your life?
Well, I'm not sure that you do, to be honest.
I don't know if you're supposed to. I'm not.
Yes, the word would be sad if it was just something you got over, because it's very important at the time.
I want to thank you. This is so. Look at this from Julie Voice, formerly of Houston, Texas, now Guilford, Surrey. almost exactly the story of my late husband and I. How beautiful.
Oh, how
How
nice.
beautiful, Julie. Hope your
Good
knee's
one.
doing well as well, darling. Hope your knee's doing okay, because she had a knee.
Julie, you should watch the 6 episodes. It'll make you laugh and cry.
Oh,
Can I just
so
throw
sweet.
something in there quickly? Because I've rediscovered, because the last couple of weeks I've been on a bit of an economy drive.
Yeah.
And for reasons I won't bore you with. But
Okay.
let's just say that it's
Those
been necessary.
Bentleys do not come cheap, I told you.
It's been
Wouldn't
necessary.
listen. Bentley
to-
Continental Speed convertible.
I know. I've got to behave myself, but it sadly has been necessary to skim back, shall we say, some of the more luxurious things I have in life. And as a result of it, I
Pants.
decided to cancel Netflix.
Oh.
Disgusting. Cancel Disney Plus as well.
Yeah.
And as soon as Neighbours finishes at the end of this year, I will be cancelling Amazon Prime.
Oh,
However, Discovery Plus and some other streaming services do offer free streaming. So what you can do is, and Amazon, to be fair, Amazon do this as well. You don't have to have Amazon Prime. Is there are certain programs you can watch for free, just with a load of adverts in.
Yeah.
And I've started trying to sort of pick out and see what there are. Discovery Plus is one of them. And I tell you why Discovery Plus is quite a good one, is because it's not amongst the most popular of the streaming services. There aren't that many adverts on it.
Right.
Is the truth of it.
nice.
They rely quite heavily on subscription rather than adverts.
Yeah.
And as a result of it, if you actually watch something for free, it's almost uninterrupted, apart from maybe a trail of something else that's appearing on Discovery Plus. So as a result of it, I've started watching this series that was narrated by Caroline Quentin for HGTV, so Home and Garden Television.
Correct.
And it is called Derelict Rescue. Now, I don't know how you feel about
Sorry, it's called what?
Derelict Rescue, as in like derelict, something like you.
You're talking about me.
Yeah. So
if you can rescue this, you're doing well.
so and what it does, it follows these. It's a bit like Grand Designs, but it's a bit more than that. Grand Designs is building it from scratch. Derelict Rescue, as it suggests, is getting these really rundown buildings that are just in desperate need of a bit of a cash injection. Well, I say a bit of a cash injection, hell of a cash injection. Just follows their stories about it, and I think it's absolutely fascinating to see the willpower and the strength that people have to actually sort of take on these projects. I personally find that stuff fascinating. I don't know if it's anyone else.
No, I like it.
No, I loved it.
But it is I can highly recommend Discovery Plus. You can register Discovery Plus for free and then just watch it. Derelict Rescue, I suggest.
Yeah. No, I used to, when I was at the BBC, I commissioned lifestyle programs, which were mainly makeover shows. And I always loved them because the before and after is always
I love it.
just
Absolutely
fabulous.
love it.
There's always something. And I had one show called 7 Year Makeover, and it was about one particular guy in the Northwest, Russell Harris, who had actually been a television presenter called the Dice Man, if you remember the Dice Man. Which was a travel show on Discovery, but he had bought a water tower and converted it over 7 years, and we followed that for the entire duration that he did the project.
So
and I loved it.
That's so funny that you say that, because the latest episode of Derelict Rescue I've just seen is a family who have just converted a water tower. So there you go.
There we are. Anyway.
Okay, can I just quickly remind you just before the end of this program, as I know that you wanted to mention Rachel Krieger, and I interrupted.
Yes, I did. I did want to mention Rachel Krieger.
No, go for it, Russ.
Oh, right. I saw on X and then on Facebook. There's a person I know. She's not a friend. She's not a friend of mine. I think I went on her podcast some years back. A comedian called Rachel Krieger, and she's just been. I'm going to say banned. They would use other terms from the Edinburgh Fringe, and on the grounds that they could not assure her safety.
Oh dear.
Rachel Krieger is a very charming woman. She's not strident. She's not agitprop. She's nothing like that. And I contacted her yesterday and said, if you want to come on the show, do. But I think she's got a whole team handling the situation. But you know exactly what it is. She's Jewish. She's been cancelled and can't go to the Edinburgh Fringe, where she's performed many times. That's where we are. It is 1935 in Britain. That's what's going on. And I wanted to come on and I wanted her to tell her story, but she's got a whole, apparently, her team and her legal advisors have gone in, and
Right.
that's that. So it's a lady called Rachel Krieger. Can you look it up on Facebook? Give her your support.
I actually know Rachel. So
Oh, you know Rachel?
Do you?
And she is a remarkably wonderful human being. And it's funny because she's quite orthodox, but yet she's not orthodox at the same time. So it's so funny how she'll, she clearly is religious, but yet at the same time has no problem with me sort of giving her a hug or what have you, which of course, technically speaking, men and women in more religious circles don't make contact if you're not married or anything like that. I'd like to reassure you, I'm not married to Rachel. She's very happily married to Rachel.
That's what you said.
But the point is, that she's just so down to earth, and to see this happen to her is just ridiculous. Because if you do know her, you'll know how non-political she is.
She's completely she's not political at all.
She wouldn't even probably mention Israel
once. No, it's not a political thing. It's just humor. It is just general humor.
But anyway,
sounds
Oh. Any old way.
It's disgraceful.
Sorry, Chantal, what else have you
I'm sorry about that. Well, I was going to take you to Belgium. Why not?
Okay.
We'll go on a day trip to Belgium.
I'd like that.
A Belgian crime drama called Pandora, which is it's crime and it's politics, and you know I love politics and crime. And it's very well written. I've only seen the first 2 episodes. I'm looking forward to seeing the.
What's it on?
It's on Channel 4, and it's called Pandora, or Pandore, as the French would say. And it starts with, and you need to sort of turn your head away, although it's not too graphic, but the sound is pretty graphic. It starts with a young woman who is a political agitator, going to a press conference and making a nuisance of herself. And then on the way back from there, gets brutally raped by a gang.
Ooh.
And the person who witnesses the whole event is one of the people from the political party whose press conference she's just been to, who doesn't want to go to the police and tell the police what has happened. So it blends a crime drama with a political drama, and you see the two playing out together. And it's very cleverly knitted together. And I think it's rather well written. The acting is extremely good, both from the sort of the lead actor, who is the young politician who is trying to get to the top of the stack, and from this young girl who's the political activist. But it's pretty good, is all I would say. It's a nice, it's an easy summer watch. It's not massively demanding, but you do have to watch it with the subtitles on unless you speak French.
Oh, it's in French, not Flemish.
Well, no, it is in French. Very good question. It is in French. It is not in Flemish. The French is relatively easy.
And I want to thank you again for recommending Scrublands, because I watched
yes, that was good.
Both seasons. I didn't realize there were 2 seasons of it. Excellent. Really, very, very good. Very, very good. I would never have watched it had you not suggested it. Scrublands. It's on BBC.
Yeah.
On the iPlayer.
Very briefly.
Season 1 better than season 2. Season 2 is pretty good. Season 1 excellent. Good acting. And I got a little bit confused with part of the plot, but there we are. I won't want to spoil it for anybody. Anything else quick?
Very briefly, because I know
no rush.
Stephen Knight fan. Stephen Knight, who wrote Peaky Blinders.
Of course.
A new series. It did come out a year ago, but it's just come to Channel 4 again. Channel 4. It's called The Veil, with Elizabeth Moss, who's an American actress I love, but she has got the most perfect British accent. She plays an MI6 operative who is rescuing a young woman from a refugee camp on the Turkish-Syrian border. It's called The Veil. Yeah. And again, I've watched the first 2 episodes, and I will definitely watch the next 4. Channel 4.
Oh, Channel 4 again.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there you go. So that's 3 things that you can watch without spending any money at all.
Phil. Yeah, Scrublands was and
Mr. Frugal over here.
No good for you, Phil. I've got too many at the moment. I think I need to pare some down, to be honest.
Believe me, I would quite happily not have done that, but regrettably, circumstances have shoved me into a particular corner. But it's fine. I'm
bugger. I'm sorry to hear that.
It doesn't matter. I'm not going to feel sorry for myself. I'm getting a grip on it now, so it's all right.
Oh, come round to my place.
Perfect. I'm there. Let's have a bottle. Right.
He obviously won't be driving, because that would be, how are you going to get there? You're going to walk. Save money.
Oh, well, I'll leave now. I'll get there by about at 7 o'clock this evening?
I'd say go on your electric scooter, but somebody stole it, of course.
Yeah, that's long gone.
No,
That was ages ago.
Well, that's it, gang. Listen,
Onwards and upwards.
Thank you all. Again, thank you for like 500 messages. I hope I replied to each and every one of you. If I didn't, it was nothing personal, must mean, because I just missed it when I was flicking up. Thank you, everybody.
Okay.
Thank you, Chantal. I'm so glad you're back. Thank you, Phil.
Great.
Wish you well. Until we all meet again, which I think, please God, will be Monday with a fair wind. Take care. Remember, no hurty words. Bye, everyone.